Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about how much money you should have in your bank account for a specific age. So if you're 20, 30, 40, all the way up to retirement, we're going to be talking about how much money you should have in your bank account. But before we get into that, drop a like button down below, guys. Subscribe if you want. It would really mean a great deal to me. And drop all your questions in the comment section below. Any questions that you guys have, I'll be more than happy to make a video out of it, or even just reply to you guys in the comments down below. So let's get into this. First of all, we'll be talking about when you're 20 years old. So when you're 20 years old, a lot of people, depending on if you live in the States, in Europe, in Canada, a lot of people have different living conditions, and the cost of living is different for everybody. So when you're a 20-year-old, let's say you're in the States, a lot of people have student loan debt, whether it's for going to college, people are buying their first house in their mid-20s. A lot of people have different, circumstances revolving around what they're doing. So when you're 20 years old, the first thing you want to do is just get used to saving money. So for your first couple of paychecks, if you just got your first job, you're getting your first real job after college, you want to take some of your money and just put it aside. Get used to putting your money to the side without spending everything and splurging all the money that you're getting. So take a certain amount of your paycheck. I take more than 50% of mine and I put it right into my bank account. You just have to get used to that and not using all that money that you have on food, on extracurricular activities. If you guys, play sports, go to clubs and stuff like that, you spend money fast. Let's say you get a $300 paycheck because you're working part-time. You go to a club, you blow that all in one night. So just get used to saving a certain amount of money per month. Let's just say it's 25% of your paycheck. You're getting $200 every 2 weeks. So you're putting $50 of that into your savings account just to get used to it. Next, we'll be talking about when you're 30 years old. We'll be taking a look at Forbes.com and also a lot of financial advisors out there, what they're saying. They're saying that you should have about 1 times your salary. So if you're making $50,000 at 25, by the time you're 30, you should have about $50,000 saved into your bank account. So it's not a crazy amount of money, but you just have to get used to being able to save and putting money on the side instead of splurging, going out. A lot of people think that when you're 30 years old or in your 30s, you'll be saving a lot more money than when you're 20 because you have a higher paying job, but that's not always the case. In your 30s, you're paying off your mortgage. Let's say you're getting a nicer car than what you had. A lot of people don't take that into account, and they think that, okay, by the time I'm 30, 35, we'll be saving a lot more money just because I'm making double or triple what I was making 10 years ago. That's not always the case. You got to be careful in what you're doing, what you're able to afford. So let's take a look of when you are 40 years old and how much money you should have according to Forbes. So at 40 years old, they're saying that you should have 2 times your current salary, and by the time you're 50, you should have 5 times your salary. So at 40 years old, 3 times is not crazy. At 40 years old, 3 times is not crazy, but it's still significant, So you're making $50,000. By the time you're 40, you should have $150,000 saved into your bank account. A lot of people, think that that's not a lot, but doing it and saying it are 2 different things. So, if you say, yeah, I'm going to have $500,000 saved by the time I'm 40 years old, it's easy to say, but if every week you're going to clubs, you're going to fancy restaurants, you're going out, skydiving every 3 days because you love the adrenaline rush, you're not going to attain that amount by the time you're 40. So according to Forbes, 3 times your current salary is solid for 40 years old, and by the time you're 50, you should have 6 times your starting salary that you had at 25 years old. So let's say that was $50,000. By the time you're 50, you should have $300,000 saved into your account. It's easy to say, it's harder to do it. So we're not going to be talking about compounded interest or investing. So this is just the money that you're going to be saved on the side. You realize that with compound interest, that money can become a lot throughout the years. So we can make a completely different video about that. tomorrow, in a couple days, whatever you guys want, just leave it in the comments below. Smash that like button again and subscribe if you want. It would mean a whole deal to me. So let's continue on with this video, guys. By the time you're 60 years old, you should have about 10 times that starting salary. So in this case, if you had $50,000, by the time you're 60 years old, you should have 10 times that starting salary. So you should have, in our case, $500,000, which is a decent amount, depending on where you live. If that's good enough for you, a lot of people want a lot more than that, and some people are already 60 years old and have not attained that level. So depends on where you're starting off. Obviously, the earlier you start is going to be better for yourself, especially if we're talking about compound interest and how your money could grow throughout the years just with that interest from, let's say, the stock market, and how, let's say, that $500,000 can turn into something a lot bigger. If you guys want to talk about it, just leave it in the comments and we'll talk about that. So that's it, guys. That's how much money you should have saved by age, depending on your age group. If you're 20, 30, all the way up to retirement, how much money you should have in your account for it to be reasonable for your retirement afterwards. There's always people that are going to be out there that want a lot more, and some people don't have as much. So it depends on how much money you need in your retirement, what your environment is, where you're living, and how much money you need to survive out there when you're 60, 65 years old and decide to retire, how much money you should have to live out those next 30 years, because without that money in that bank account, you got nothing else coming in, unless you own a couple properties out there that give you rental income, unless you have money in the stock market that gives you interest. If you don't have money saved up in your account, then you won't have too much to lean on for the next 20, 30 years, where you're supposed to spend it as, leisure time. If you guys want to go on cruise ships, if you guys want to travel around the world, go on one of those crazy cruises that go for, 6 months around the world, 280 countries, it costs a good coin. So save up your money, get used to it, and put it off to the side early, man. Put off your money to the side. And get used to just having that, that little cushion that you could always fall back on, because a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and if a rainy day comes, it's always going to be hard. It's going to be hard for them to bounce back. So if you have that cushion and that fund that you'll have for a couple months, at least during one of those rainy days, you'll be okay. And for your retirement, you guys will be fine, and you'll have enough money to enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. If you're 70 years old, you want to go skydiving and almost get a heart attack, you can if you want. So ciao, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to leave your comments down below, and like the video and subscribe, man. It would really mean a lot to me. Join the family, guys. We called it Collective Business for a reason. So let's grow this thing together, and let's just enjoy the ride. And man, any questions you guys have, leave it down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. You guys are awesome. Ciao.